Guys, so today I'm going to give you a walkthrough of my dining room space and what I did with it for the summer. I'm going to highlight thrifted items that I used in here, as well as free items and low-cost items. That's kind of how I decorate my living space, is to utilize the least cost methods to give me the look that I'm comfortable with in this space. So this here, I had another set of decor pieces on this wall, and I recently found this treasure at the thrift store, and I think I paid maybe $5 or $6 for this plank of wood with this writing. It says, "They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts." And this just reminds me of some of the activities that happens in this space, where my family and I and friends come together and we just kind of sit and eat and chat and share really good moments together. So I felt like this piece really fit in nicely in this space. It also has a really nice rustic look to it, and it's on natural wood, and that's just really my style this season, I guess, of life that I'm in. It was just a plank of wood with the writing, and I ended up adding two hooks at the back that I already had in my supply, so I can put it up on this wall. And I was thinking of adding some other things there, but I think for right now, I just like this sign by itself. This is a really strong statement piece, and to me at least, and it stands alone, I think. Over here on my table, I already mentioned, I think in a previous video, that this was a table that I got from a friend of mine. The story behind it is that I had bought a brand new dining room set at the time, and I like this table better, and my friend was giving it away, so I ended up taking this table, and then I gave my brand new dining room set with like the table and four chairs to another friend of mine that was in need of it at the time. So this table, I'm going to lift up the tablecloth for a little bit. It is definitely used. It's got scratches and things on it, which for me, it just means lived experience. It's dark wood. I have been thinking about sanding it down to a more natural wood, and then painting the bottom. So I'm going to lift this up here again. The bottom piece is like this, and painting the bottom piece white. I haven't really settled on that idea yet. So if you know me, I kind of sit on things for a while until I'm settled on what I really want to do. And then these chairs, I also mentioned it in another one of my videos. I did pick this set of 4 metal dining room chairs at the Habitat for Humanity Restore last Christmas season. I think it was like a day or two after Christmas. And for the set of 4, I paid $26 for. This was, it was really a treasure for me, because for some time now I wanted to switch out my wooden dining room chairs with some metal ones, and I was just waiting to kind of see it through, show up in either a thrift store or some other more cost-effective ways. And I'm glad I held out for it, because it showed up at a good time, and so I was able to snag it. I did replace the upholstery part with some new upholstery that the fabric I picked up at Hobby Lobby for a few dollars, and I was able to do that for myself. I intend to either repaint the metal part of the chairs, either the same cream color to give it a fresh look, or white. Again, I haven't settled on that yet, so I'm gonna wait on it. So if we move over to this cabinet, this was a a gift from a friend of mine. Again, this was something that I was holding out for. I wanted something small like this to put in this space, to just have my extra set of dishes in, dishes that I use on a regular basis when I'm either hosting a dinner or lunch party. I just have a few items in here that I use quite often, and I don't really have a lot of storage space in my kitchen for that, and so I just needed something. And again, it's an item that I held out for a few years, and it just kind of came along at the right time. I also want to paint this cabinet. I was thinking of like a neutral color, like a cream color or white possibly. White to go with my recently painted kitchen cabinet, as this, my dining room, sits right outside of the kitchen area. But I haven't settled on that yet, so I'm gonna wait on it for a little bit. I did change out the hardware, the knobs on this. It was originally a wooden knobs, and I switched it out for this kind of brass color that I already had from another piece of furniture. I think it was a chest of drawer that I saved it, so I was able to use it in here. And then on the top, I have this piece here that, again, it's really nice and rustic. I did get this as a Christmas present from a friend of mine a few years ago, and it just sits up here on a thrifted metal stand. This stand came in a pair, and I got this at the thrift store a few months ago, I think before COVID, and they were like 75 cents a piece. So it sits really nicely up here. And then I have just some other thrifted items. This galvanized L is just L for Lisa, and this was thrifted. And then this pepper shaker was also thrifted. And then I have a bunch of faux greenery and flowers sitting in this glass vase, and the flowers and the greenery were from Dollar General, and it was just for a few bucks, and I have it sitting in here. And I have to say, guys, like before now, I was really not into faux flowers, for faux greenery, because I just felt it looked really fake. And I have to say though, in recent times, I've been getting really good deals on faux greenery that look pretty real. So I think now I'm kind of like, it's kind of my thing now, right? I like to add greenery to a living space. Greenery for me represents life and living, and we are living beings that occupy the space. So that's a good representation of that. Also, that I had this shelving unit sitting in this corner of my dining room before, and I recently swapped it out for over here, just because this space is a little bit bigger and it fits in here perfectly. And then now we're gonna go over to this shelving unit. This is like a corner shelf, and I think I picked this up over probably about 10 years ago from a local furniture store that has since been closed down. And the items on here are definitely thrifted, except for the faux flowers. And I have it sitting in this glass jar that it's a coffee jar that we're done using the coffee, and I just thought this was a good use of that canister. And then down here I have this footprint sign that was thrifted a while back. And then these two little vase, they were a Dollar Tree find, and I just repainted it white to go with my decor. This metal canister here is something that was also thrifted a while back, and it was originally brass, and I just used some textured paint to paint over it this neutral color. and I have it sitting on these 3 blocks of wood. The bottom piece is actually this piece right here is actually a cutting board that my son made for me in shop class in high school a few years ago. And I just use it as a decor piece because it works nicely for that. Down below, I have my apple jar that I just have a bunch of knickknacks in, and I have it sitting on a few cookbooks. And then the last shelf is my watering canister that I use to water my indoor plants. And this was a thrifted find a few years ago as well. So I'm gonna loop around this room for a little bit. I'm gonna go back to the dining room table because my table setting is, as you can see, this is a pretty small dining room table, and it works really nicely in here because this is a small space. I think anything bigger would have made me feel too kind of closed in. It would be a cluster for me. So on here, I just have a vase of water sitting on here with some greenery and some flowers from my garden outside. I like to do that from time to time, a few days out of the week. I'll get some fresh flowers or fresh greenery and bring indoors. And then I have it sitting on this metal tray that was also thrifted. And then I have a couple of wooden coasters that I recently repainted. My wooden apple, just to add a pop of red in here. And then this little jar was a Dollar Tree or maybe Family Dollar find, and I have some toothpicks sitting on there. And then these 2 candle stands are also thrifted. They're metal. They have like kind of that rustic look to it, and I have 2 thrifted candles sitting on them as well. And that's kind of all that I wanted to put up here because this table we use very often. We use for snacks, we use on a daily basis, and I didn't want to have something that makes this table not functional, but I also wanted to add some decor that's pretty stable here. I also wanted to mention like I do have several candlesticks, like pairs, that I use throughout the year in various places of my home, and I just kind of swap out them and all other home decor pieces. I feel like I do swap it out from room to room because I pretty much keep a neutral color to all of my rooms in my home, and then I may add a pop of color from season to season. So it makes it really easy and affordable to just kind of reuse things, and I found it to be really effective. Speaking of a pop of color, so in my kitchen, and if you have a chance, I would love for you to visit my before and after kitchen DIY projects. But in my kitchen, the pop of color that I have throughout the year is a pop of red. And since this room sit right outside my kitchen area, I thought to add a pop of red in here to just kind of make it connected, right? And then I have several neutral color that kind of go with my living room, as my living room sits kind of kitty corner to my dining room as well. So I just basically this room incorporate colors from my living room as well as my dining room to kind of just keep a good coordination. Over here on this window, or at this window, I have this little table. This was also thrifted. I think this was, I picked this up a while back from Habitat for Humanity Restore. The metal part really attracted me. I tend to decorate with a lot of like metal elements, stone if I can find it, and then some natural wood as well. And I have my snake plant sitting at the window here for some sunlight. I had it outside for a little bit and it just got scorched by the sun, so I moved it indoors. So I think the last area that I wanted to highlight here is on this wall. I had a floating shelf here before, and then I ended up taking it down and I added this chalk board here to it. This was also another thrifted find a while back, and I used some of my black chalk paint to just paint over it. And I write different kind of inspirational messages here from time to time. And so this, probably over the past week or so, I just have "This too shall pass." It just means as we're going through this pandemic, as we're going through hard, maybe financial situations or even health issues, it's just a reminder for me, my friends, and my family who access this room to be encouraged and to be reminded that even though we're going through a lot, this too shall pass before long. And so just to hold on with a little bit of hope. So guys, this is it for my dining room space and what I chose to do in here for the summer. Again, I do really apologize for the lighting. But yeah, I have this kind of set up in my room for this time. It's really light and airy. I've had to purge out this room a little bit because it got a little cluttered as I was trying to do a cozy look for the colder weather. So I really like the outcome. I also just wanted to end this video by saying, you know, for my decor, I have been using a lot more thrifted items. I got into thrifting a lot later, I think, than a lot of people that I know. And it has turned out to be a really good blessing for me. I find a lot of really cool, unique pieces that I probably couldn't afford regular price, or I didn't want to spend the regular price money for those. And so a lot of times I may have an idea of what I want in a space, and I just hold out for it depending on what it is. Because what I have seen so far in thrifting trends is that it shows up at a thrift store one of these days, right? And for a few bucks. So I tend to just kind of hold out for things and kind of make a list. And so as I'm thrifting, I'm looking for some of those items, and before long they do show up. So I hope that encourages someone to to be patient. And you know, you're not going to find everything that you want in one day or at one place, but just kind of be patient and hold out for that, because it eventually shows up. And you know, it's just a good way to save and to get really cool, unique pieces that represents you. So guys, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for joining me on this walkthrough. And I, again, hope I encourage someone to just be patient and be creative in their space. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you on the next video.